I mean,
Well, think about what happened back in September. On September 1, the Russians shut down the Nord Stream natural gas pipeline and told the Germans, look, we know that without this, not only does your electricity go offline, your entire manufacturing system fails. So side with us, abandon the NATO coalition, stab Ukraine in the back, or deindustrialize. And the Germans decided to deindustrialize, which is not...
How long? How long are they going to do? Are they going to go back to the farms? I mean, this is Germany.
Yeah, exactly.
The
German system is on borrowed...
Fifth largest economy in the world.
Yeah, not for long. The German system cannot function without bottomless volumes of natural gas, and those are no longer available anywhere.
Did Angela Merkel not see this when she made that deal with Russia? Did she not see that
for her entire 12 years as chancellor, she was buying time in order to not have to face this decision. And she was lucky enough that it all went down weeks after she stepped down.
So she's going to go down in history as one of Germany's biggest, the architect of Germany's downfall.
Well, the Germans never had the capacity to impose a replacement system. All she could do was operate within the parameters of the environment she was in. Because, the world, when it hears that Germany is taking strong military and economic policies, we all get a little twitchy.
Yeah.
For good reason.
I mean,
so she knew that. So she did what she could with the resources she had, and she generated what turned out to be a German golden age, but it was never for forever.
And what about, so Germany's in deep shit.
Germany ceases to be a significant power. Poland, if they can figure out the security and the energy question, Poland's got a good 20-year run. But their demographics are not all that much better than the Germans or the Russians.
But they at least are closer to Russian oil, and they can kind of play nice.
Yeah, the Poles and the Russians usually don't play nice. And remember, there's two scenarios of how this war ends. War number one, where the Russians do well, they conquer parts of Poland. Scenario number two, where the Russians do badly, they disintegrate, and you shouldn't count on the energy anyway.
Oh my God, yeah. And now you're dealing with like individual brokers and warlords and stuff, whoever has control of that.
But there are parts of the European system that'll probably do fine. In a post-Germany EU,
the UK, how's the UK?
The UK will basically either get a free trade agreement with the United States or apply for statehood. I mean, that's the future for the UK.
Or apply for statehood, sir.
It's perfectly normal for parents to move in with their kids. It happens everywhere.
Oh, I thought you meant statehood, like be part of the United States.
I did.
Peter, I could just see every Brit like doing this. I mean,
they're either going to get terms of a deal that are much worse for them than it was for the Japanese, or they're going to find a way to make themselves closer, and the only way to do that is statehood.
Dude, I mean, but they have a great navy. This is the UK, for God's sake.
They have a great navy, but they gutted the rest of their military to get those supercarriers out there, and they no longer have the fleets necessary to protect the supercarriers. So those supercarriers can only sail with an American escort ring. They functionally are not an independent country now.
They aren't because of Brexit, or just because of 1,000?
Because of the way they did Brexit.
Big mistake.
They cut off their foot to leave the EU and don't have a backup plan. 6 years on, they still don't have a backup plan.
Scandinavia, how are they going to do?
Scandinavia, positive demographics. Trade system is not dependent on the Russians or even the Germans. And they, from a defense point of view, are practically best buds with the United States already. So you bring Finland and Sweden into NATO, which is imminent. And I can see them basically entering an extended NAFTA system as well and doing very well for themselves.
Okay. So it's not all doom. Half of the world is going to be okay. But if you're Russia, if you're China, if you're Kazakhstan, if you're Dagestan, if you're Azerbaijan, if you're Armenia, how's Armenia going to do?
Armenia now has to deal with a world where the Turks are the preeminent power in their neighborhood. They are not prepared for that politically.
Yeah, and the Turks, how about the Turks?
Turkey will probably do fine. Solid manufacturing base. Everything that gives the Germans problems is going to be an opportunity for Turkey. And they are by far the most powerful country in their neighborhood. And if there's any version of Russia that survives, it will be dependent on the Turks to access the wider world. So I see a very bright future for the Turks.
Wow! And by the way, a lot of Germany is Turkish, right? I mean, huge.
Based on who's deciding who's in what bucket, probably 10 to 15%.
Think about that. That's crazy. The world is changing, man. It's such an important book. It's such an ambitious move. I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you're going to follow up on this thing, dude. Good luck. Good luck with that. But is there anything? Are you wrong about anything so far, or are you doubling down and are you right about everything?
I'm pretty confident on all the big trends. The biggest challenge for any forecaster, and no exception for me, is timing. I mean, I can tell you that the financial system that undergirds all things China is unstable. It's basically Enron on a good day, and it's going to collapse. But it's been like that for 15 years, and they're still here. So things happen faster or slower. COVID sped along things far more than Trump did, and Trump sped things along more than any president yet. Deciding when this stuff is going to go down, and that's a nice way of saying which order it's going to go down, has always been the biggest challenge.
Does the United States move more toward a socialist form of government economy or more toward a capitalist?
Definitely more towards socialist because of the baby boomers. They have voted themselves the world's richest benefits policy. And they're now retired. On average, they retire actually this quarter. And they have the votes to make sure that those transfers continue hell or high water. And the millennials, who are the second largest voting bloc, will support them all the way up, because the alternative is the boomers moving in with the millennials. And from the millennials' point of view, that's a strictly one-way relationship.
Wow. So benefits, an expansion of Medicare, expansion of Social Security, expansion of all those things.
It'll be up to Gen X and the Zoomers to pay for it.
Do we have the tax base to pay for that?
Not even close.
Not even close. So we're going to borrow money, or
we're going to borrow to pay for the boomers, and then the millennials will probably close down those programs so they don't have to pay for them until Gen X is dead. And then when it's millennials' turn to get the benefits, they will vote them back, and we do this again.
How is Greece going to do? You're not optimistic.
Oh my God, no. I mean, Greece became a ward of the European Union back in 2007. It's actually in a worse debt position now than it was then. And now the Europeans are about to lose their single largest form of funds in the shape of Germany. So yeah, Greece is a ward or it's a failed state. There's really no other option at this point. There's less industry now there than there was 20 years ago.
My God, there's I guess there's the sea, there's fish, and there's tourism.
Yeah, and tourism during COVID was zero.
Where do you put your money?
I'm not a CFA, so let's start with that.
I understand, but
I like companies that have most of their operations in the United States, who are in industries that are energy intensive. Courtesy of the shale sector, we have the world's cheapest electricity and oil. I like products that are where their demand is demographically driven. And if the end product is exportable, that's kind of my trifecta. So anything that is in energy processing, petrochemicals, food processing, those are kind of at the top of my list.
Because there's going to be an endless need for that.
Yeah, there's a need, there's an ability to get it to where it needs to go. And the United States is already the world's most competitive economy in those sectors before the competition even gets hit. So if the competition gets hit, holy crap.